The sands of Egypt hide more than gold. They hide fear, they hide blood, and they hide secrets the pharaohs never wanted the world to see. For thousands of years, we've looked at Egypt as a land of wonder. The pyramids, the mummies, the gods. But behind the beauty, there was darkness, cruelty, mystery, and power so deep that even today, we still don't fully understand it. They say Egypt was the cradle of civilization. But what if it was also the birthplace of some of history's greatest lies? Because under the sand, beneath the temples, tombs, and monuments, lies another Egypt. A hidden Egypt. A world that whispers of forbidden rituals, lost chambers, and voices that once called out to the gods, and sometimes got an answer. In this film, you'll see the side of ancient Egypt that textbooks skip. The shadow world of curses, hidden tombs, and the strange forces said to guard them. We'll uncover 3 shocking truths. First, the real reason some tombs were sealed forever and what happened to those who tried to open them. Second, how ancient priests may have used dark knowledge that still puzzles scientists today. And third, the mystery buried beneath the desert that could change everything we thought we knew about life and death. This isn't just history, it's a story of secrets buried alive. Let me show you exactly how this happened. Set up in context, picture the desert at dawn. Golden light sweeps across miles of sand. In the distance, the Great Pyramid rises, sharp, silent, eternal. It's easy to think it's just stone, but every block holds a story. And not all those stories are good ones. Ancient Egypt wasn't built overnight. It took more than 3,000 years, across over 30 dynasties. Kings rose and fell, gods changed names, and every time power shifted, someone tried to erase the past. What we see today, the grand temples of Luxor, the Valley of the Kings, the Shining Sphinx, are the survivors. But what about what didn't survive? What about the tombs that were destroyed? Or sealed by the priests themselves? Why were some names carved out of walls, their faces chipped away? Something happened here, something the ancient Egyptians wanted forgotten. When archaeologists first began exploring the tombs in the 1800s, they expected treasures. What they found instead were curses, broken bones, and writings that warned, death will come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the dead. Most people laughed at the idea of curses. But then, people started dying. In 1922, when Howard Carter opened the tomb of Tutankhamun, the world celebrated. Newspapers called it the discovery of the century. But soon a dark pattern began. Lord Carnarvon, the man who funded the dig, died suddenly from a mosquito bite that turned deadly. Lights in Cairo flickered and went out. His dog, thousands of miles away in England, reportedly howled and dropped dead the same night. Coincidence? Maybe. But the story didn't stop there. Over the next few years, more people linked to the tomb died. Strange fevers, accidents, sudden illness. The press called it the curse of the pharaoh. Some said it was ancient revenge. Others thought it was mold, bacteria, or just bad luck. But deep down, many wondered, had they really opened something that was meant to stay sealed forever? Now here's where things get really interesting, because Tutankhamun's tomb wasn't unique. Across Egypt, archaeologists found the same pattern. Tombs sealed with warnings, strange symbols painted over doors, and traps designed not just to protect gold, but to protect secrets. And those secrets may reveal that ancient Egypt wasn't just a kingdom. It was a machine built on control of life, death, and maybe even the soul itself. Let's go back to where it all began. 3,000 years before Christ, Egypt was already a land of power. The Nile was its lifeline. Every drop of water meant survival. Villages grew near its banks. And as the river rose and fell, it created a rhythm. That rhythm became religion, and that religion gave birth to the pharaohs. The pharaoh wasn't just a king. He was a god on earth, the living Horus, the son of Ra. His word was law, his touch divine. But with that power came fear. Because if the pharaoh was a god, then death wasn't the end. It was just a doorway. That's why the Egyptians built tombs so grand they touched the sky. They filled them with gold, food, and statues, things they believed the soul would need in the next life. But that belief created an obsession with death. And in that obsession, something darker began to grow. The priests became the keepers of the afterlife. They controlled the rituals, the scrolls, the spells. They wrote books like the Book of the Dead, a guide to navigating the world beyond. But who wrote those spells first? And where did they come from? Some say they were given by the gods. Others believe they came from something even older, a lost civilization that vanished before Egypt was born. The priests never said. They only passed their secrets to a chosen few, and those who tried to learn without permission were punished. Plot twist: even the pharaohs were afraid of their own priests, because the priests didn't just bury the dead, they buried the truth. Let's look at one of those truths now. The first major revelation, it began with a tomb with no name, found deep in the Valley of the Kings, hidden behind a wall of sand and stone. When the archaeologists opened it, they expected a mummy. Instead, they found something stranger. The walls were painted black, not gold, not red, but deep black. And in the center lay a massive stone sarcophagus, sealed tight with no markings. Inside were the remains of a man who didn't belong. His bones were older than the tomb itself, and his skull, longer, larger, shaped unlike any known Egyptian. Scientists were confused. The hieroglyphs nearby told a story of the Watchers being said to walk among men, teaching them knowledge from the stars. The priests had ordered this tomb sealed. Why? Some experts say it was to hide heresy, a forgotten cult that mixed Egyptian faith with forbidden ideas. Others think the priests feared what this tomb represented, proof that Egypt's power came from something beyond human. But here's the strange part. This isn't the only tomb like it. In Saqqara, in Abydos, and near the Step Pyramid, there are vaults carved with strange reliefs, showing humans standing beside towering figures, with what looks like metal tools or devices no one can explain. Coincidence? Maybe. But the same black pigment found in the Watcher tomb was used again, centuries later, in burial chambers of priests accused of dark magic. Was it just a color? Or a warning? Now, you might think this sounds like myth, but remember, the Egyptians themselves wrote that some knowledge was not for the living. Some secrets, they said, had to stay buried forever. But if you think that's strange, wait until you hear this. The temples of Egypt weren't just places of worship. They were laboratories, they were schools, and they were prisons for secrets too dangerous for ordinary people to know. The priests who served inside them were unlike any others in the ancient world. They didn't farm, they didn't fight. They studied, they read, and they guarded knowledge that could make or break a kingdom. The pharaoh ruled by the sword, but the priests ruled by the word and by fear. They spoke the language of the gods, carved in symbols the common man couldn't read. They mixed potions that could heal or kill. They built traps that could protect the dead from grave robbers, and sometimes destroy the living who dared to enter. But what made these priests so powerful wasn't magic, at least not as we understand it. It was their knowledge of nature, of science, of chemistry, astronomy, and even the human mind. They knew when the Nile would flood because they studied the stars. They could mummify a body so perfectly that it would last for thousands of years. And they could create illusions in the temples that made people believe they were seeing gods appear in fire and light. To the people, this was divine power. To the priests it was control, and control, in ancient Egypt, was everything. One of the most mysterious places in Egypt was known as Pharaohs, the House of Life. It wasn't a single building, but a network of secret rooms hidden within temples. Only the highest priests could enter. Inside they kept scrolls, thousands of them. They contained hymns, prayers, medical texts, and spells. Some were copied from older scrolls. Some were said to have come from the gods themselves. One scroll described how to open the mouth of the dead, giving the mummy its voice again in the afterlife. Another spoke of the doors beneath the earth, guarded by serpents of fire. And one, now lost, was said to contain the name of the god that could bring life to stone. According to Egyptian legends, this knowledge came from a single source, Thoth, the god of wisdom. He was said to have written the Book of Thoth, a text so powerful that whoever read it would know the language of the gods, and could command the heavens and the underworld alike. But the priests warned, he who reads it will suffer the anger of the gods. The story says one priest long ago tried to steal the book. He found it buried beneath the Nile, sealed in iron and guarded by serpents. He opened it, he read it, and he was never seen again. Was it just a myth? Or was this the priest's way of keeping people away from forbidden truths? Even today, archaeologists have found scrolls that describe strange experiments, mixing minerals and resins in ways modern scientists still study. They talk about awakening stone, preserving the light, and binding the soul. Were these just metaphors? Or something more? Every Egyptian believed death wasn't the end. It was a journey, and the priests were the gatekeepers of that journey. They knew how to prepare a body for the afterlife, not just with bandages and oil, but with rituals that were part science, part faith. They believed the soul had 5 parts. Each one had to be protected. If one was lost, the person could never be reborn. That's why the process of mummification was so long and detailed. First, they removed the organs, the liver, lungs, stomach, and intestines, and placed them in jars guarded by 4 protective gods. Then they dried the body with salt. They rubbed it with oils and resins to keep it from decaying. Finally, they wrapped it in linen, layer after layer, whispering prayers between each wrap. But here's what most people don't know. Not all mummies were made equal. The rich had perfect burials. The poor had almost none. And the priests? They had their own kind. The secret burials, performed in darkness, with chants that were never written down. Some of these priestly mummies have been found, buried in hidden tombs beneath the desert. Their faces are peaceful and too peaceful. Tests show their preservation was far beyond normal. Their bodies look almost untouched by time. How did they do it? What formula did they use? No one knows. Some Egyptologists think they discovered a chemical process lost to history, a mixture that could slow decay almost forever. Others whisper it wasn't just chemistry, it was ritual. A merging of science and something else, something that can't be measured. The Egyptians called it Heka, magic. But to them, Heka wasn't fantasy. It was the power that made creation itself possible. It was energy, life, and will combined. And the priests were its masters. Now let's go back to those tomb curses we talked about earlier. Most historians think they were just warnings, like "do not enter" signs. But not all of them. Some were written with precision, measured, timed. They weren't meant to scare. They were meant to trigger something. One tomb near Thebes had a strange design. Its inner chamber was filled with a powder that released a gas when exposed to air. The first people to open it in modern times all became violently ill. When tested, the air was found to contain toxic bacteria, a deadly mix sealed for centuries. Was this a coincidence? Or did the ancient priests design biological traps before the world even knew the word? In another tomb, archaeologists found a small mirror covered with hieroglyphs that read, "To look upon your own soul is to invite madness." When they tested it, they found the mirror wasn't metal. It was made from a rare black glass, polished so perfectly that even a modern lens expert couldn't explain how it was crafted. Was it a ritual object, a weapon, or a tool for seeing something beyond this world? The more scientists looked, the more they realized the Egyptians weren't just building tombs. They were building machines of mystery. Every chamber, every tunnel, every sound in those walls had purpose. Some passages echoed in ways that amplified voices, creating ghostly sounds. Some rooms were cut to align perfectly with the stars. Others were carved to focus heat or light or vibration. These weren't mistakes. They were messages. But messages for whom? The ancient Egyptians believed words had power, not just meaning power. They called it the living word. To write something was to make it real. That's why names were so important. To erase a name from a wall was to erase a soul. That's why enemies were often carved out of history, literally. But there was another layer, a language beneath the language. In certain temples like Dendera and Abydos, inscriptions don't match known grammar. They use symbols that appear nowhere else, hidden codes. Some lines, when read backward, tell a different story entirely. Some scholars believe they were written for the gods, not for humans. One wall in Abydos shows strange shapes that look eerily modern, like a helicopter, a submarine, and even an aircraft. Coincidence? Maybe. But why do the shapes appear in a temple built thousands of years before such machines existed? Egyptologists call it palimpsest, carvings that overlap from different periods, creating accidental shapes. But locals call it the writing of the sky, They believe the priests knew of visitors from above and carved what they saw. It's easy to dismiss this as myth, but what if some of those myths were memories, stories of events passed down through generations, hidden in the only language they trusted, symbols carved in stone? Now, here's where things take a turn. In 2015, researchers using advanced scanning technology made a discovery inside the Great Pyramid of Giza. They found what appears to be a hidden void, a massive space above the Grand Gallery, sealed and untouched for 4,000 years. No one knows what's inside. Some say it's just a structural gap. Others believe it could hold something remarkable. Perhaps the lost records of the priests, or even the fabled Book of Thoth itself. The Egyptian government has been cautious. No drilling, no digging, no entry. Not yet. But the question remains, why build a secret chamber, then seal it forever? What was so dangerous that it couldn't even be spoken of? Some historians believe the answer lies in the reign of Pharaoh Akhenaten, the heretic king who tried to change Egypt's religion. He claimed there was only one god, the sun, Aten. He shut down the temples, angered the priests, and was erased from history after his death. But what if Akhenaten didn't invent his new faith? What if he rediscovered something the priests had hidden, an ancient truth about creation, the universe, and power itself? Because after Akhenaten's fall, Egypt entered chaos. Tombs were looted, temples destroyed, and when order was restored, the priests rewrote everything. They called it purifying history. But maybe it was just covering their tracks. There's a strange gap in Egyptian history, a time when records vanish, and knowledge seems to go backward. Scholars call it the Third Intermediate Period. For hundreds of years, Egypt lost much of its science, art, and order. Why? Some say foreign invasions. Others think the Nile changed course. But some ancient texts hint at something deeper, a punishment from the gods for those who misused sacred knowledge. One scroll, found in the ruins of Hermopolis, warns, "Those who open the gates without right shall drown in their own shadows." It sounds like poetry, but it might be a warning. Not from gods, but from priests who knew their secrets had been misused. When Egypt fell to foreign powers, Assyrians, Persians, Greeks, the invaders searched for the hidden scrolls. Most were gone. Some were burned. Others, legends say, were buried in the desert, guarded by sand and time. And maybe, just maybe, they're still out there. The priests' power faded, but their mysteries remained. The question is, what exactly were they protecting? We've seen their tombs, their curses, their hidden chambers. But now we'll go even deeper. Because the next revelation changes everything we thought we knew about Egypt's greatest monuments, the pyramids themselves. So brace yourself. Because what you're about to hear may rewrite history. Before time began keeping count, before kingdoms carved borders into the earth, the ancient Egyptians built something that defied all logic. Stone against sky, line against eternity. They raised the pyramids. Most were told they were tombs, silent resting places for kings who sought immortality. But what if they were more than that? What if the pyramids were not built merely to guard the dead, but to preserve a secret the living were never meant to forget? The desert wind carries a whisper still, that within the geometry of those colossal stones lies a language of power. A code written not in words but in alignment, proportion, and vibration. Even now, 5,000 years later, their edges remain sharper than time. Their placement so precise it challenges every tool and theory we know. Each block weighs tons, yet fits as though measured by light itself. There are no seams visible to the naked eye, no mortar. Only precision that humbles the machines of our modern world. Archaeologists call it engineering. The priests of old would have called it divine order. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands at the center of the Earth's landmass, aligned with true north more accurately than any modern structure. Its base forms a perfect square, its angles reflecting the same mathematical constants that govern our universe. Pi, phi, and the golden ratio, all encoded within its very foundation. Coincidence, or the signature of minds who knew far more than we imagine? Some believe the pyramids acted as massive conductors, funneling Earth's natural energy, a planetary force that ancient priests called Heka, the essence of creation itself. They said Heka flowed through all things, binding spirit and matter, heaven and earth. To harness it was to touch the power of the gods. Perhaps the pyramids were more than monuments. Perhaps they were machines, designed to awaken this flow. Deep beneath Giza, tunnels run like veins beneath the sand. Water once coursed through them from the Nile, vibrating through the limestone bedrock, creating an electromagnetic field that pulsed around the pyramid's core. Modern physicists who have studied its structure found traces of conductivity in its materials. Granite rich in quartz, limestone dense yet resonant. These are not random choices. They are components of energy systems. Quartz vibrates when exposed to pressure, a property used today in modern electronics. Could it be that the Egyptians, in their silence and mystery, had discovered this phenomenon thousands of years ago? If so, what were they powering? A city of light beneath the desert? A chamber of awakening within the heart of the pyramid? Or a connection to the stars that guided their souls beyond death? Ancient texts describe the pharaoh not merely as a king, but as an intermediary between gods and men. His tomb was not just a grave, it was a vessel for transformation. Within its corridors, sacred rituals were performed to awaken the Ba and the Ka, the twin aspects of the soul. Through sound, vibration, and geometry, the pharaoh's spirit was said to ascend through light, reuniting with the stars, sound, vibration, light, the same forces that form the foundation of modern quantum science. Could the Egyptians have known something we are only now rediscovering? Even the word pyramid may hold a clue, from the Greek pyr, meaning fire, and mid, meaning in the middle, the fire in the middle, an energy source at the core. Today, inside the king's chamber of the Great Pyramid, sound frequencies resonate in patterns that defy coincidence. Scientists who have tested them found that certain tones amplify naturally, standing waves that form harmonic nodes in perfect geometric alignment. The chamber seems built for resonance, as though its architects knew that sound could open a doorway unseen by eyes. The priests once sang within these walls. Their chants were not prayers as we understand them. They were frequencies designed to move matter, to bridge the physical and the divine. The vibration of the voice, multiplied by the geometry of the chamber, was said to release the Heka energy sleeping within the stone, and when that energy awoke, it rose through the pyramid's central shaft like lightning through a conduit, toward the heavens, toward Orion, the constellation they believed was the home of Osiris, the god of rebirth and eternal life. Look closely at the layout of the three pyramids of Giza. They mirror the three stars of Orion's belt. Not roughly, perfectly. Each star has a corresponding pyramid in scale and distance, and beyond them, the Nile reflects the Milky Way. As above, so below. It is not a metaphor. It is a design, an echo of heaven built upon earth. The Egyptians built not only for the eye, but for eternity. Every block, every line was part of a living equation, a conversation between man and cosmos. They were telling us that the earth itself is sacred geometry, that the universe sings in numbers. That consciousness is not confined to flesh, but woven into the pattern of creation itself. Modern excavations have revealed sealed chambers never opened since the dawn of time. Some lie hidden beneath the Sphinx, its massive paws guarding secrets buried in the bedrock. In 1997, ground-penetrating radar detected anomalies beneath its right paw, hollow cavities too perfectly shaped to be natural. Could these be the Hall of Records spoken of in Egyptian legend? The library said to contain the wisdom of Atlantis, the civilization from which Egypt itself was born? Mainstream historians dismiss this as myth, but the Egyptians themselves never did. They spoke of Zep Tepi, the first time, an era when gods walked among men and knowledge flowed like the Nile itself. When the world was aligned with the heavens, and man remembered his divine nature. The pyramids may be remnants of that age, not built by slaves or simple tools, but by minds still echoing with the memory of a higher civilization. Every time a sandstorm rises, it feels as though the desert itself is trying to speak again, to remind us that beneath every theory, beneath every block of stone, there lies something deeper, a truth that will not die. For even as the empire fell, even as time erased the names of kings, the pyramids remained. Their silence is not emptiness. It is a presence, a hum that still lives beneath the dust. Stand before the Great Pyramid at dusk, and you will feel it. The air vibrates differently there. It is not imagination. It is memory of something vast, something eternal. Perhaps that was the Egyptians' final gift to us, a monument that could not be conquered, that could not be forgotten, because it was never meant merely to be seen. It was meant to be felt, and though science has mapped its stones, we have yet to touch its soul. For in the heart of that monument, in its geometry and light, may lie the greatest mystery of all. Not how it was built, but why it still calls to us across the ages. The kings may be gone, their names erased by wind and time, but their message endures in silence. That man was once far more than flesh. That knowledge was once a living flame, and that beneath the sand, Egypt still breathes. The Nile had been Egypt's heartbeat for millennia. It fed the people, it guided the kings, it marked the seasons. But no river, no matter how mighty, could stop the decay of power. Empires rise, empires fall. Even one as eternal as Egypt. For thousands of years, Egypt was unchallenged. Its armies patrolled the deserts. Its priests controlled the flow of knowledge. Its kings built monuments to last forever. But the very forces that made Egypt strong, its rigid hierarchy, its obsession with the divine, its secret knowledge, also made it fragile. The decline began slowly. The pharaohs lost control over distant provinces. Nobles grew wealthy and independent. The priests grew suspicious of the kings who tried to rule without them. And the common people, exhausted by taxes and labor for endless construction projects, began to question their rulers. It was not a sudden collapse. It was a slow erosion, a death by silence, by bureaucracy, by distrust. The first foreign powers to strike came from the northeast, the Hyksos. They were warriors with bronze weapons and chariots, technology the Egyptians had never seen. They swept across the Nile Delta, conquering cities, and ruled Egypt for more than a century. The Egyptians called them outsiders. But the Hyksos brought new ideas, new tools, new warfare techniques, and even new gods. Some priests resisted, some collaborated, and in the chaos, many of the old secrets of Egypt were lost, hidden, or deliberately destroyed. Yet even under foreign rule, the monuments stood. The pyramids, the temples, the obelisks, they endured as silent witnesses to a civilization struggling to hold itself together. When native pharaohs finally expelled the Hyksos, Egypt entered its new kingdom, a time of conquest, wealth, and power. It was a golden age. Tutankhamun, Hatshepsut, Ramses the Great, names we still know, ruled over a land stretching from Nubia in the south to Syria in the north. But golden ages can hide shadows. While temples flourished, the priesthood grew stronger behind the scenes. They controlled ritual, law, and memory itself. They had survived invasions, uprisings, and the erosion of dynasties. And they ensured that only select knowledge would survive. The rest was buried, erased, or forbidden. Secrets that had once allowed the pharaohs to command energy, geometry, and vibration, knowledge that might have made their tombs more than tombs, began to vanish. Some scrolls were burned to prevent misuse. Others were hidden in vaults beneath the desert, beyond the reach of common men. The same vaults that modern archaeologists are still discovering today. And as the knowledge faded, so did the empire's spiritual power. Egypt's enemies were not always foreign. Sometimes the greatest danger came from within. Rival nobles plotted against each other. Kings were assassinated or exiled. Priests manipulated events in silence, shaping history without ever appearing in it. And the people, struggling to survive, gradually forgot the true meaning behind the rituals and monuments. Without knowledge, faith turned into superstition. What was once an intricate system of magic, science, and philosophy became mere tradition. Chants became empty words. Symbols lost their meaning. And the pyramids, once conduits of cosmic energy, were reduced to silent tombs, stripped of purpose. The fall of Egypt was not just political, it was spiritual. The river still flowed. The sun still rose. But the link between heaven and earth had weakened. The arrival of the Persians, and later the Greeks under Alexander the Great, further destabilized Egypt. Greek rulers admired the monuments but often ignored their hidden meanings. Priests were tolerated only if they did not challenge the new rulers. Many temples were repurposed. Hieroglyphs were defaced. Sacred texts were copied in secret, some never to be seen again. The wisdom of the ancients was fragmented, scattered, and mostly lost, yet the memory lingered. Legends of secret chambers, hidden scrolls, and mystical energies persisted in whispers, passed down through generations. The Sphinx became a guardian of stories no one could fully understand. The pyramids stood as silent witnesses to a lost golden age, a civilization that once commanded life, death, and energy itself, even in the Roman era. Centuries later, travelers reported tombs still sealed, with curses intact and strange chambers untouched. The Romans may have conquered Egypt, but they did not conquer its mysteries. By the time of the Christian era, much of the old knowledge had vanished. The great libraries were burned or scattered. Priestly traditions were absorbed into new religions or forgotten entirely. Yet traces remained, encoded in the monuments, in hidden chambers, in the geometry of temples, and in the myths of gods who walked among men. Occasionally, these traces were uncovered by explorers. A hidden chamber beneath Saqqara revealed black pigment that survived thousands of years, hinting at rituals lost to time. Scrolls discovered in desert tombs described energy, vibration, and cosmic alignment, knowledge far ahead of its era. Symbols carved in stone depicted beings taller than men, holding devices no one could identify. These fragments suggest that Egypt's fall was not just the fall of a kingdom, it was the fall of knowledge itself. Knowledge so powerful that it had to be hidden to survive. Even today, Egypt's influence is undeniable. Its monuments inspire architects, scientists, and historians. Its geometry appears in modern buildings. Its symbolism echoes in literature, art, and science, yet much remains a mystery. The pyramids still hide chambers we cannot reach. The Sphinx still guards the sands, and the secrets of the priests, how they controlled energy, life, and death, remain buried, waiting for someone to understand. The fall of Egypt was not final. Its stones still hum with the memory of power. Its desert winds carry whispers of the Heka that once flowed through the Nile, the temples, and the pyramids. Perhaps the Egyptians' greatest achievement was not the empire itself, but the enduring mystery, a challenge for every generation to uncover. And now, we come to the most shocking discovery of all. Because beneath the sand, beneath the pyramids, beneath centuries of history, there may lie something that not even the pharaohs fully understood, something that could rewrite the story of humanity itself. Beneath the scorching Egyptian sun, beneath layers of sand, stone, and time, secrets wait. Secrets that not even the greatest pharaohs could fully control. For thousands of years, Egypt's mysteries have survived invasions, plunder, and the erosion of history. The pyramids still stand, the Sphinx still gazes across the desert, and the whispers of the priests still linger, a faint hum in the air, a vibration in the stone, a call from the past that refuses to be silenced. But the greatest secrets are not found in temples or tombs. They are found in the patterns, the alignment of stones, the hidden chambers, the geometry that connects earth to sky. The hidden machines of the ancients. The pyramids were never just tombs. They were tools. They were machines. Some researchers now suggest that the Great Pyramid of Giza functioned as an immense energy conductor. It absorbed the natural energies of the earth, focused them, and emitted them in ways still not fully understood. The quartz-rich granite chambers, the precise angles, the long corridors, all may have been designed to amplify vibration, possibly even sound, into frequencies capable of influencing matter. Consider this. The King's Chamber perfectly resonates at a frequency that corresponds to human brain waves. Standing inside it, chanting or singing could have amplified thought or consciousness. The Egyptians may have understood what we now call bioenergetics, the connection between energy, consciousness, and matter itself. Was this the priest's greatest secret? A technology of the mind hidden beneath stone and sand. Some modern scientists are experimenting with sound and resonance in stone chambers. They report strange phenomena, vibrations that affect water, movement in objects, even changes in perception. Could these discoveries be echoes of the knowledge Egypt once held? For centuries, explorers have sought what the ancients called the Hall of Records. Legends claim it contains the knowledge of the gods, lost civilizations, and the secrets of the pharaohs. Ground-penetrating radar has revealed anomalies beneath the Giza Plateau, voids and cavities too precise to be natural. Researchers believe these could contain hidden archives, scrolls, artifacts, or mechanisms of unknown purpose. Local folklore speaks of doors sealed in stone, Doors that open only when the world is ready. And while modern archaeologists debate, the desert continues to guard its secrets. Every discovery raises more questions than it answers. The Egyptians believed that the soul was composed of multiple elements, Ka, Ba, and Ak. The K represented life force. The Ba was personality. The Ak was the transformed immortal self. The pyramids and temples were built to support the transition from one state to another. They were, in essence, spiritual machines, aligned with the stars, constructed from materials with energy-conducting properties, and filled with ritual sound and light. They could guide a soul beyond the physical realm. Modern psychology may call this meditation or sensory stimulation. Ancient Egyptians called it Heka, the magic that flows through the universe, the same force that created the world. By losing access to these rituals, the world may have lost something more profound than history. It may have lost knowledge of consciousness itself. Even today, Egypt continues to reveal astonishing truths. Chemical analysis of tomb resins shows advanced formulas, capable of preserving organic matter far longer than previously believed. Satellite scans detect previously unknown structures beneath the sands. Linguists are decoding inscriptions that hint at knowledge of astronomy, mathematics, and energy far beyond the conventional understanding of the time. Some scholars argue that this is merely coincidence. Others believe the ancients had a far deeper understanding of the universe than we give them credit for. Every year, new discoveries challenge our perception. A hidden chamber here, a cryptic text there, a perfect alignment with the stars. It all points to one undeniable truth. The Egyptians knew more than they told us. Here is the most shocking truth of all. The Egyptians' greatest gift and their greatest secret was not gold or monuments. It was knowledge. Knowledge of the natural world, the stars, energy, and the human mind. This knowledge was deliberately hidden, sealed in tombs, encoded in symbols passed down only to initiates. It survived because it was dangerous. Dangerous because it could change the way humans understand reality. Dangerous because those who misused it might destroy themselves. As legend warns in the lost Book of Thoth, and even today we are only beginning to grasp it. Imagine if we could rediscover their methods. Imagine if we could unlock the energy within stone, the resonance of sound, the hidden power of consciousness. The secrets of the pyramids are not just ancient history. They are blueprints for knowledge humanity has nearly forgotten. Egypt is more than a relic. It is a mirror, a reflection of what is possible when knowledge, science, and spirit converge. The pharaohs and priests remind us, power is fleeting, wealth is temporary, but understanding, true understanding of the universe, can endure for millennia. Modern explorers, scientists, and seekers are standing where the priests once stood. We have the tools to investigate energy, vibration, and consciousness in ways the ancients only hinted at. The difference is patience and courage, and while the secrets remain buried, they are not lost. They are waiting for those willing to listen to the stones, to follow the flow of the Nile, to read the sky as the Egyptians once did, to uncover the truths hidden beneath the sands. And here is the final, unexpected revelation. The Egyptian mysteries were never meant to be fully understood in one lifetime. They were built across generations, as a challenge, a test of patience, perception, and awareness. Every pyramid, every chamber, every symbol was a lesson encoded in stone, a reminder that true knowledge is not inherited, it is discovered. Even as we watch from thousands of miles and thousands of years away, we are participating in the same journey. Each discovery, each question we ask, is part of a chain stretching back to the first stone placed on the Giza Plateau. The pharaohs are gone, the priests are gone, but the puzzle remains, and the pyramid's silent hum calls to us still, inviting us to unlock the energy of the universe itself. If this opened your eyes, then know the story is far from over. Egypt has not revealed all of its secrets, and the sands continue to whisper that the dark side of ancient Egypt is not only about power, death, or empire. It is about knowledge, hidden, dangerous, eternal, waiting for the next generation to awaken it. The Egyptians built more than monuments. They built mysteries that endure. Secrets of life, energy, and the soul remain buried beneath the sands. The pharaohs may have fallen, but the knowledge lives on. Subscribe and like to explore more hidden truths of ancient civilizations. Share your thoughts in the comments. Which secret of Egypt shocks you the most? And if you want to dive deeper into the lost wisdom of the ancients, watch our next documentary on the hidden knowledge of the Maya. The story of Egypt is not finished. It continues beneath every grain of sand, waiting for you to uncover it.